From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week, so it is time to get you guys some games and everything like that. Now, I do know that we did not have a show yesterday, but we did have NFL Bet Exchange yesterday, so that went a little bit longer than I wanted it to. So I kind of ran out of time because I had other things to do yesterday. So I'm back. And we'll go ahead and we'll jump into it right away. We have a lot of really good things to get into here early in the show. So let's go ahead and get into something that I pretty much what made me famous in this sports betting thing on Twitters and all these different social media platforms and all that stuff. We go to the world famous bets list, and today I got the college basketball bets list. We got I premiered 3 conferences today. We're having a real issue with games being postponed right now in January. Like literally, I think they might have to push March Madness all the way back to like maybe April, because they're going to have to get a lot of games in here in the next month or so. So it's going to be a lot of makeup days for a lot of these teams. So you'll be having odd games going off at odd times and stuff like that. So be prepared for that. So up first, we have ourselves the Big East bets list. We have ourselves some pretty good games today. I do like Georgetown in their game coming back because these guys have not played some time now. They've been off for like the last 2 weeks. They literally missed the last like 3 weeks of December. So now they're back around. They're ready to go ahead and get back into the just things. So when I look at how this game is shaping up tonight, they're going against a pretty good team in Marquette, but I think that Georgetown, with the little bit of a layoff, they can go ahead and win this game tonight. And I got them winning as a dog tonight as well, too, with the plus 120. This is their first game in the Big East as well, too. As you guys remember last year, they did take the whole tournament as I think an 8-9 seed last year. So Georgetown still does loom the danger because they have a lot of players that they just brought in that are very good. As I said before, Georgetown's probably a team that's going to start very slow, and then they'll pick up the pace as they go. And then at the bigger the game, the bigger they'll play. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Then we have Butler with the plus 6.5 here as well. Butler is going to be Butler's coming into this game. They're 8-5. Xavier is really good. They're 11-2 this year, but they just came off of a loss against Nova. They just lost by 13. Butler is coming off of a loss against Seton Hall at home as well too, but got a good win over DePaul before that. So I think Butler will be in the game. I'm not saying that they win the game, but I think that Butler does show up in this game. So that's why I'm going with Butler in the spot. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But there it goes. That's going to be our Big East bets list right there. Now we have our next one up is the Horizon League. This is a Midwest league. It's pretty much Wisconsin, Ohio, Illinois as well too, and Michigan as well too. That the smaller schools from those states you fill up this conference. So we all know the Horizon does produce a lot of first round upset winners in the tournament as well too. So you guys have to keep your eyes on this conference and see who the real leader in the clubhouse is here, because that team does loom the danger when they get to the tournament. And here goes a quick fun fact. A lot of people have to understand Butler was a Horizon League team when they started making their big runs in the tournament and everything like that. Then they moved on to the A10. and they were pretty decent. They were pretty good in the A10 as well too. But they were in the Horizon League in all those years, those great years where they were going to national. They were going to the Final Four, all that good stuff before they went to the Big East. You had to understand they didn't go to the Big East till the Big East had their final till the Big East had their final, farewell to the last few teams that stuck around in the Big East and everything like that. Because everybody knows when football left the Big East, pretty much what happened to the conference was they had to reassess things a little bit, and they went kind of all Catholic school. So that's why Butler was able to get into the Big East like that. But I just want to give you guys a brief history on the Horizon League. And you guys already know Milwaukee going against Detroit today. Detroit's another team that got a monster upset in the tournament before as well, too. They beat UCLA back in about 97. No, actually about 99, they beat them. They had a guy. This is when they had who's the coach of the New Orleans Hornets, right? New Orleans Pelicans right now. Willie Green. So, pretty much he was the superstar for that team and was drafted in the top 15 as well, too. But I like Milwaukee in this spot. I think that they should get the cover. I like the +5.5. Cleveland State has been playing some great basketball this year, and they look to be one of the tougher teams in the Horizon. They're going against Robert Morris today. Robert Morris is still kind of new to the group and everything like that. Robert Morris used to be in the American East team, so pretty much they're coming in here trying to get acclimated, but they've struggled. I'll be honest with you. It's been a real struggle for this team. And you got to remember Robert Morris a few years back, they were the 16 seed a lot in the tournament, but it's not that way anymore. So pretty much we do have Cleveland State on the road tonight. I think they win this game by double digits or better. Then you got Youngstown State here in the final spot. Youngstown State's in a game against IPFW tonight. That's Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne, actually. Sorry about that. I'm thinking about Texas right now. But there it is. There it is with that one. This one should be pretty good. I think that everything should work itself out tonight. I think Youngstown State's played good enough this season to warrant a good, nice bet here. So let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. But there it is, -4.5 to Youngstown State today. So that's our Horizons bets list. And then we finish up with the Ivy League bets list. And the Ivy League is starting. I think the Ivy League is starting kind of early this year, but they're starting it up. So we have the Harvard with the -3.5, and I like Cornell today as well too. They got a better record going into this game as well too. So I like Cornell in this spot. I know Penn is the more of the team that you gravitate to, but I think Cornell is going to be really good today. They could possibly win this game as a dog today as well too. But the +4.5 right there will take the insurance. And then we got Columbia, not Columbia, going against Princeton today. So that's a battle of NYC versus New Jersey. So pretty much this should be a really good game today as well too. I think that Columbia, I know they're not that good this season, but once again, this is the Ivy League, and Columbia always gives Princeton some fits. So I like the 15.5 today. And when you get double-digit teams in the Ivy League, that's always like the way to go. Because the thing is, I know a lot of people give you this idea that, they're going to get blown out because of how their record looks. But you got to remember, these guys are, real student athletes, guys that go to school for college, not to go to the pros or anything like that. If they get to the pros, that's good for them. But, these guys come to play. It's almost like rec league ball. So you can't go in there and be like, well, their record's 3 and something. It doesn't matter. They're going to show up, because I've seen teams that were +20 in the Ivy League win by 15. So, y'all can miss me with that. Oh, yeah, they're that far apart in talent. No, they're right. They all have the same talent, but it comes down to coaching. It comes down to execution, and it comes down to, who scores the most buckets. It's always a stat situation in these games as well, too. So it is what it is. Ivy League's bets list. There it goes. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and talk the state of the Lakers, and we'll get into the NBA Friday night as well. And then we'll finish up with Talkin Tickets. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, so we're back with the premier sports show, the Primetime Angles Live, and I'm gonna go into our state of Lakers today. You know, the Lakers are I'm not gonna say they're coming into a groove, and I like very middling all season, but all in all, though, the Lakers are playing very well to start the year. They've won 3 in a row after losing 5 in a row, but they had won 3 in a row before that. See, that's the thing with the Lakers right now. They'll have a consistent, nice little win streak, and then when they lose, they'll have a nice little losing streak. So everything always comes back to being in the middle. But once again, when you look at the way that the NBA is shaping up and the way that things are going, I say this literally every day. There's about 5 really good teams in the NBA. Seriously. I don't know how many teams are even over 20 wins at this point. I think there maybe 4. Okay, so you guys have to understand this might be the most competitive we've seen the NBA be in some time now. You know what I mean? Especially with the way that it's such a age gap nowadays, where you got where the bad teams are very, very, very young, and then the old teams are very, very all-star heavy. You know what I mean? It's really and then the middling teams are the teams that don't really need the star face franchise of the team. They just go out and just go do team stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a real funny league, in my opinion. And you know, you look at the Lakers, you cannot put them in the bottom of the barrel group. They're not in the group with teams like the Rockets and teams like the Pistons and teams like the Thunder. Those teams, they look when they look good on games, good for them. But on most nights, they look pretty bad. Okay, so let's just, you know, I'm just going to be honest. Orlando as well too. So when you say bad teams, you really need to know what a bad team is. You know what I mean? So the Lakers, to me, I think that everything is in the right place. And also news in right now that Austin Reeves and oh man, what you call it? And and the other Avery Bradley have both been signed for the rest of the season. So that's pretty good. Avery Bradley, everybody knows he was a part of the Lakers in 2019, 2020 when they won the championship. He decided to opt out, but he came back when nobody wanted him anymore. But it's all good. He came back, and that's good. He's been playing pretty good defense all season. I know why they're keeping him here, because they still have a little bit of issues with the guards and things like that. So, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. I think that he can be helpful moving forward. And Austin Reeves is still like a developmental situation. I know a lot of people really miss Alex Caruso, and they're trying to replace the Alex Caruso on the team. But I'm gonna just be dead honest with you. I like Austin Reeves a lot, but he doesn't compare to Mr. Caruso, dude. Caruso was like literally the ultimate team player. I think Austin Reeves has to, get some more time on the court to show us exactly what he's capable of. He hit a great 3-point shot to win a game, though. I'll give him that. And I think that since I haven't seen him play a lot with the South Bay Lakers, I think that he must be good enough to stay on the roster. But the Lakers are real hurt as well, too. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Lakers should be fine. They got a game against the Hawks tonight. The Hawks are not a great road team. The Hawks have really, really been bad against West Coast teams on the road as well, too, this season. But that does not make a difference at all. People have to understand, who's playing the Lakers tonight. Trae Young, and they're going to talk about Kobe and Gigi and how that was one of her favorite players, and they went to a game when he played there and he scored 30-40 points. They're going to mention that like 65 times in the game tonight. So you have to get yourself prepared for that. So this is a big game for him because he's playing in the same stadium as his idol and all that good stuff. But the Lakers, though, they don't need to get caught up in all that. The Lakers just need to get to work tonight and go ahead and get themselves a nice solid win. I think that Westbrook and LeBron have really really figured out how to coexist together. I know that they already had an idea how to do it, and I think that it's working out pretty well. And Carmelo has fit in very well with the AD absence as well too. And then you know what? Nobody's saying much about it, but Malik Monk is such an X factor. And I told you guys this when we were picking up all these free agents, and everybody was so excited about having all the older guys coming in. And I told you guys, I kept chirping to you guys that, hey, Malik Monk was probably the best signing out of everybody that the Lakers signed, because this was a surprise on surprise, because Malik Monk could have went and made some real money in the NBA. But he decided to come play with the Lakers because he wanted to come play with LeBron. He wanted to come play with Westbrook. He wanted to come play with AD. And that's what happens when you get stuck in a place like Charlotte. You know what I mean? Charlotte, it was a place where they weren't really conducive to producing winning. You know what I mean? They were more about, let's just get out here, have a good game tonight. Hopefully we can have about 60-70% of the crowd show up for the game for our home game tonight, and we'll go from there. But Malik Monk had great moments with the Hornets, but nobody would ever know about it because the Hornets were just that bad. You have to really dig deep into these NBA stats and NBA and nights in the NBA to see how much of an impact he made on that Charlotte team as well, coming off the bench of all things. Now he's on this Laker team, and he's back and forth on starting and being on the bench, but he has been an absolute gem for the Lakers, in my opinion, when they do let him get a little bit more, when they let him shoot more than, say, 5 or 6 times in a game. They need to let Malik Monk get his opportunities as well, too. He needs 12 to 15 attempts at that bucket nightly, and that will start fixing this thing a little bit and making people a little bit more, and a little bit will have people dial it back a little bit. Okay. I think that they just need to have certain guys do a little bit more, but I know that they can't because they are sacrificing that part to the stars. But we have a team now that I think that a lot of people, they know that they got to figure out these things. So I think that all in all, the chemistry's coming into play, and the Lakers are doing exactly what all great racehorses do, because that's what because LeBron is a Secretary John Henry type. So the thing is, when you got the big horse don't have to front run. You don't have to be a front runner. The big horse can just be in the pack, and then when it's time to pounce, they'll know what time it is. And so when it's the time to pounce, that final stretch drive, that's called the playoffs. And that's when I feel the Lakers will be at full capacity, full beast mode, and be right where they want to be. I'm not guaranteeing the championship, but they're going to make it hard on teams like Phoenix and Warriors if they're trying to move forward in the NBA Finals this year. So there it is. That's my rant. That's my 2 cents. That's the state of the Lakers tonight. Game starts at 7:30 over at the Crypto.com arena, but we'll always call it Staples. So there it is. There it is. That's the state of the Lakers, and we move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our first game of the night for NBA Friday night. It's going to be what was the opening game of the night in the NBA, and that's going to be the Bucks and the Nets. The Bucks and the Nets both come into this game looking to get get some footing down and, pretty much catch the Bulls. The Bulls have been the talk of the town. The Bulls have been that team over here in this conference. So pretty much you have this game tonight. You got the Nets and the Bucks. And, Kyrie's not playing because they're at home. So Kyrie only plays on the road. He's a part-time NBA player now. And eventually he'll probably be back playing in Brooklyn because I know that they're about to lift some mandates and stuff in Brooklyn. So we'll see how much longer he'll be just a road player. So when you look at the way this sets up, you got a Bucks team that's lost 2 in a row, and I'll keep it real. That Detroit loss it does linger because it was at home, but then Toronto comes in the next night and beats you as well too. So 2 home losses in a row. But they've been playing some pretty bad teams, before as of late in their last 5. 2 against Orlando, then New Orleans, and then you get Detroit. And then Toronto comes in. Like, literally, sometimes you just start getting a little lazy when you start seeing so many bad teams just coming across. The Nets had lost 3 in a row until winning the other night when Kyrie came back, winning by 8 against the Pacers. I knew that they kind of were like, a lot of people were still on the Nets the other night with really pretty much losing the idea that they had lost 3 in a row. So, sometimes you get into those situations and you might get a little excited and these teams don't show up for you. And, they showed up last night. So pretty much, when we get into this one, this is going to be a big national television game. I really do feel like we're going to have defense tonight as well. So if they do score a lot of points, they're not going to get to the over-under tonight. I think they're going to fall short in that regard. So there it is. This is going to be our first game of the night, and we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bulls and the Wizards. The Wizards coming in here as a big dog tonight. They're the road team. And I think that all in all, when it comes down to this team, they should be another team that is actually just into just getting themselves, in shape and getting themselves a good win tonight. But big thing though, I will be honest with you. I will be dead honest with you. When I look at this spot and when I look at this game, I say to myself, this is a night where the Wizards can go ahead and surprise the Bulls a little bit. The Bulls have a lot of love going on right now. And I think that everybody's might be jumping the gun just a tad, not too much, but just a tad bit, jumping the gun a little bit with the Bulls and championship aspirations and things like that. But I can understand you do have Alex Caruso on your bench. He was a key part to the Lakers championship, but I wouldn't say that it's going to be because DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan has been to maybe one conference championship in his career. No offense to DeMar, but DeMar has always been a really good player that's always been on very average teams. So that's where I say to myself that, is he truly like one of these guys that you can say can lead somebody to a championship? This even goes back to when he was in high school. You have to understand he's a California guy as well too. And I followed his career very extensively as well too, because it was almost like him, Harden, were like, man, those guys are truly LA prep legends, to be honest with you. So, and these guys knew Kobe as high schoolers. They didn't meet him in the NBA either. They met him as high schoolers. So these guys are big time. But I think DeMar DeRozan is always just falling short. And I think that going to Chicago is not making a difference. It's just like having Jimmy Butler all over again. You're going to have a lot of hopes and wishes, but that doesn't mean you're going to win a championship, okay? So I like the Bulls, but I think that, they got to add some more before they really start talking about getting rings. You know what I mean? But the Wizards, all in all, they're a team that just really, really, really will grind your gears and all that good stuff, and they're going to give you issues. So I like what I see, and I think that we are on to something pretty good here as well, too. So you guys already know what time it is. You guys will have this as your dog of the day today, and I think that we will be on to something pretty huge here. So there it is. All right, we move on to a rivalry between two teams from Texas, and you got the Rockets and the Mavericks. So you got Houston versus Dallas tonight, the two big cities in Texas. So there's some really, really good this is a good spot tonight, but I think that what happens here is that we get the over here. I know the Mavericks don't get the overs too much at home, but they'll get the over tonight on the road because the Rockets have been giving up a ton of points lately, but been scoring a ton of points lately. So I expect this one to go well over 215.5 over at the Toyota Center. So there it is. There it is. We move on. Let's talk about the Nuggets and the Kings. The Nuggets are the host tonight. The Kings coming in here as a +8. I think that the Kings will figure out a way to keep this game very competitive. I liked what I saw against the Lakers the other night. I think that they're more than capable of pulling off a pretty big win tonight as well too. But I'm going to take the insurance in the spot and take the +8. Let's see how it shakes out. This should be another good one as well too. And then we have our nightcap, our final game, the Cavs and the Blazers. They've already played this season. The Cavs already beat them as well too. In Cleveland, you already know that the Cavs have played the Western Conference pretty good, but they don't have the greatest record against the West on the road. But that was earlier in the year when they were still figuring things out. This is like in late October, early November. They sent them out to the West pretty early in the year. So they come back around this time. And the Blazers should be really, really into this one. But the Blazers just got a lot of different things going on that aren't pointing towards anything positive, in my opinion. So I truly do think that what happens here tonight is that the Cavs absolutely romp the Blazers here. The Blazers, it's just, they're so bad. I know that the Blazers are at home tonight. And I would love to take the Blazers in Portland because this used to be like almost automatic. You know what I mean? Like only times they would lose is when really good teams went to Portland. But nowadays, you know, anybody can go to Portland and get a win because their team is just not the same anymore. And you know, I know everybody doesn't want to just get on Chauncey about it and da. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I've seen a lot of other coaches get fired in this league for less. And Chauncey Billups is literally keeping his job because he was a former All-Star and he was like on TV and stuff. So they're just not trying to embarrass him. I don't think that he's cut out to be a NBA head coach as of yet. I think that he kind of jumped the line before see what people have to understand is that it's rites of passage, you know what I mean? And especially in the coaching game, because you can be a really great player, but then be a really bad coach. Because you'll go to guys and say, if I used to do it like this and I used to do it like that, you can't coach like that. That's the whole thing. So I think that maybe he should have been an assistant coach first and got his time in that way. And then I think it could have been an easier transition for him with the Blazers. But when you come out that booth, you better be ready. You better be prepared to be a really good head coach. I think the only head coach we had that really came out of the booth and was stellar off top was Steve Kerr. And I would say second that to Mark Jackson, but we both know that they had stellar teams as well too. But they were also guys that played with really great players in the NBA and were under really great coaches in the NBA as well too. So they were already somewhat player coaches when they were playing. Well, Mark was a player coach somewhat when he was on the floor. He was the coach's best friend. And Steve Kerr is a very educated person. He's very, very into, reading and, being able to explain things and all that good stuff because he does come from a family of educators. So, that's just a big difference to me. And I think that Portland is in a whole total rehab. And I think that they're just going to have to tear the whole house down. I know that Dame tells us all the time that he doesn't want to leave, but they're eventually going to get rid of him. McCollum, they'll get rid of everybody because that's just how Portland is, dude. They're going to have to restart this whole situation after the ugliness that came out in their front office situation. So it is what it is. But I like the Cavs tonight. Let's go ahead and see if they can blow them out. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and now we get to move on to you guys' favorite subject, and that's Talkin Tickets. So Talkin Tickets, what do we have here? We have a PrimeTime PK6 that's 51-1. We have Ohio with -8 tonight, and then we also have the Naval Academy with the -10.5 tonight. As I said, we have Columbia in this group as well too. They've jumped to a +16, and then we also have Holy Cross with the +140 tonight, and then we have Nicholas State with the -150, and then we end off with Butler over at the Hinkett Fieldhouse with the +6.5. And then in our NBA ticket tonight, this is how we're doing it. We have the under 233.5 with the Bucks and the Nets, and then we have the Wizards money line +200 NBA dog of the day. Then we have the over 215 with the Mavs and the Rockets. And then we have the +8 with the Kings. And then we finish up with the -6 with the Kings. With the Cavs, single what you like. That's 39-1. So there's plenty of value in these tickets. And as I always say, small risk, big reward. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Now, tomorrow, if time does persist and pertain, you guys can catch me on Instagram tomorrow morning on DBICWave_, and I'll have talking tickets for you guys, and I'll have the CBB bets list for you if I can get things out in time. But most likely, I'll just go ahead and tweet out the CBB bets list later on tonight because we do have a lot of games starting right at 9 o'clock. But if I do get it out tomorrow, it will probably be for later games and things of that nature. But most definitely, we will be having some horsing around going on tomorrow as well. And so you guys look out for my CBB, NBA, and my NFL Saturday games picks as well too. Tomorrow they'll be on the Twitter and on the Instagram. Okay, so you guys make sure to not miss that. All right, so I'll be back Monday, and we'll be talking a whole lot of football come Monday and everything like that, because we'll have an idea where we're going to in the playoffs and everything. Even though the playoffs are literally set, we do still have final spots that do need to be secured. So it's going to be a pretty intense Sunday afternoon for us West Coasters and a Sunday evening nighttime for the East Coasters, because I'm talking about the second half of the day. So with that, that's going to be a wrap on today's show and this week as well. And I'll be back Monday at noon with my man, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. And as I always say, if you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. And I am your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best.